warm welcome to all of you. I, Anuradha Sharda, would like to thank all of you for watching my videos, writing in your comments, and your suggestions. A news here that if you want to hear this video, you're more than welcome to please go to my Spotify channel and put on this video in recording. It will be available for you on the Spotify channel also. Let's move on tarot today. It's after a long period of time that I've made a video on tarot, and today we are going to talk about elements of tarot. So, what are the elements of tarot? Like all the sciences that we have, all these occult sciences, be it Vastu, be it numerology, be it astrology, the four elements which are very much visible to us are fire, water, air, and earth. And these elements express their identities, they express themselves in all the things that are occult. Okay, so and these are the elements that make us also, including of the ether element or the vayu or the vyom, akash tattva, as it is known in Sanskrit, that encompasses all these elements. Now when we're talking about the elements, we need to go to the minor arcana. As we move on to the minor arcana, we need to understand that the entire tarot deck consists of two arcanas, the major arcana and the minor arcana. The major arcana is made up of 22 cards. You can write it from 0 to 21 or 1 to 22 as the cards may show, and they are very fixed in their nature. And I have made videos in English on the major arcana also on my YouTube channel. When we talk about the minor arcana is further divided into four elements, as I just mentioned: air, water, earth, and fire. And each segment has 14 cards. So when we are talking about the minor arcana of 14 cards into 4, it actually gives us 56 cards in this minor arcana, which range from 1, which is called the ace, to 10, and then again 4 face cards each in each group, which are starting from the page or the princess, the knight, the queen, and the king of each arcana. Such a beautiful array of cards, which can seem overwhelming but are very, very simple and very easy if we understand the basic structure of the elements underlying them in the four arcanas. So the basic structure of the element, as they stand for, the pentacles will stand for earth. When we talk about the wands stand for fire. Cups are the water element, and finally the swords are the air element. And each element, as we know, is very peculiar, has its own very distinct characteristics. And these characteristics can be seen in each and every card, starting from ace to the king. The king symbolizes the epitome. When we talk about the face cards, people say, and I have also found out many a times, that they are a connectivity between the major and the minor arcana, and we can talk about it in some other episode some other time. But when we're talking about the minor arcana elements are very, very important, because when we do use them in astrology also, they give us a very good reasoning power also, and understanding. While there are two elements which are positive or which are action oriented, and two elements which are passive and which are very soft in their nature, and they can also be termed as feminine. When we talk about the action oriented or the masculine elements, they are the fire and the air element, and the passive and the sustaining elements are the earth elements and the water elements. We will here move a step ahead and see how they interact. But before we move ahead, it's better that we have a small idea what the elements are like. So let's talk about one element, and that is one element at a time. And now we start with fire. In describing fire in few words, we can say it's a very progressive element. It is a transformative element. It is an element that moves ahead. So it is futuristic in nature, and it is extremely energetic. This element talks about where you need to put in your energy. How do you work on a project energetically, and what kind of reactions you get on a certain level. When we talk about the earth element, this earth element of coins, when we talk about coins, it straight away translates into money for us. Yes, it is an element which is very practical, because food, money are the practical aspects of life where you cannot deny their existence. These are needed for our uh, physical growth. So this is a practical aspect of life. This is also having a plan B in life. It is somebody who does things on a very structure and sustainable level. So these things can be made out from the earth element. It also talks about the skills that adds to your value, because earth element is about money, things that add on to your assets, to your value. The skill set is also a part of this element. When we talk about the air element is the thought process, it's a movement, and it talks about a constant flow. So when it can be a conversation, it can be a letter, which is a conversation in itself, though it is a monologue, but it will always generate a reply. It can also be your ideas. It can be a thought, it can be a inventions. There's a difference between discoveries and inventions, and discoveries are very much a water element where you find things out. It can be an air, it can be a earth element also, where you unearth things out, whereas inventions are the genre of the air element. Finally, we have the water element. Water is another sustaining factor. It has great remembrance. Anything that is put in water is conserved. So it is a part of conservation also. And anything which is lost in water is lost forever. So this is also an element where you let go. It is also your emotional connect, because as we all know, tear is an emotion, is a water element, but it is your emotional connect. So water element gives you an emotional connect. It is a security. It can be the death of life, but it can also be the birth of life, because we all know life begins in water, and for many it ends in water also. So this is how we see all the elements. Now, when we talk about elements in tarot, then there are so many books on tarot that will give you exactly how what a card means. But and we also know that there are many books in astrology which will give us in depth about what each planet means. But there are also books which talk about what a combination of planet means. Ironically, in tarot, we are yet to find a book where, when we have a lot of combination of planet of cards, we can understand from those books what it all means. So there are some clues that is required to understand. Now today we are going to work on how to assimilate a reading, or how what to look into for a reading when we are doing, say, supposing a two card thing, and seeing that the two cards that we're picking out are from two different elements. So supposing one is a fire element and the other is a water element, then one is an active element whereas the other is a passive element. One is an action element, other is a sustenance element or letting go element. How do we work on it? Similarly, a very important thing that all of us should understand is that when we're talking about two elements, say, which are both action oriented, then I know that the outcome is going to be a huge action. When two elements which are very passive, okay, in nature, then I know that the outcome is definitely going to be a passive thing, or something that is going to be sustainable, something that is not going to show growth, but it is going to show a permanency in terms of it will be maintained properly. And when we see a mixed element, we understand that there can be growth as well as sustenance. So all these things can be taken into account. Let us take an example or two and understand it further. As I said, wands represents the fire, the cups represent water, the sword represents air, and the pentacles represent the earth element. And if the cards show the same energy, then that energy is enhanced. That means if I find that in in a reading, the cards that are coming are more or less of, say, the fire element, then I know that somebody is going to go ahead and get a work done, come hell or high water, or will have that much of energy or that much of power to sustain any obstacles in the road. But if I see that more and more of the earth element, then I would know that this person is an extremely practical person, would have a backup plan, would know how to work towards doing something, and the person would also understand the importance of money in a project. Ironically, the air element and the fire element do not understand the importance of money, so we need a earth element to make them understand the money in the element. So, supposing we see that there is the Ten of Swords and it is accompanied by a pentacle, we know that the Ten of Swords is an element which is a, we know that this is an air element, and we know that the Nine of Pentacles is an element which is practical and yet it is sustaining. So to understand, it's all happening in the mind, we are being betrayed. The the Ten of Swords tells us that this is the epitome of betrayal, and you've undergone a lot of torture, a lot of mental agony in life, probably to the point where you feel suicidal. But if you hold on, as it's shown in the Nine of Pentacles, you hold on to the grace of the Lord above, because that's the bird, the hawk sitting here telling you that you do have the grace. So hold on, sustain yourself, and you will be able to grow further, because there is a grace in your life, there is fortitude, and you will be able to come out big, because the Nine of Pentacles is the card which gives you an ability to reach good financial and emotional stability. That's a place of peace. So we understand when we have one active and a passive card. We see the elements interacting. One is interacting with a lot of patience, because the earth elements, it is talking about patience, whereas the air element is talking about agony, mental torture, because it's all in the air, and the 10 is about torture. When we talk about, say, supposing again a pentacle, a king of pentacle and a six of wands, once again is a mental card. It's once again is a fire element. Fire element in terms here is action. The person is not mentally active but physically very active, and six of wands typically shows victory in a certain area. The king is said to be the supreme in his genre, and when he is in action, then he makes sure that the project will harness as much of prosperity and wealth as possible. So when we're connecting the elements, the money, the king is again a person who is of a high stature. So we're saying there's somebody senior out there who is very much firm, who's very solid in his ideas, and who knows how to get the work done. When he gets the work done, there is sure to be victory in that field. Physical victory can be very much ascertained. Similarly, as you move ahead now, we have two different cards here. Though they are of the first one was also pentacle, the second one here is also pentacle. But here it's a four of pentacle. And we now here understand that you have victory, you have got what is rightfully yours, or you have claimed the situation, you have won over things, and whatever money that you've got out of it, it's high time that you're careful about it. Either you're careful about it, you're investing it, you're safeguarding it, because we know that the money, as we can understand from the picture, it's all about the money. You're putting it in safe deposit, it is away from other people's knowledge or other people's eye. So we can understand how we have to work with the elements here. If you've liked the video, do write into us, write in your comments, and write in your suggestions. Till we meet with you again.